more. Now there's Climb Cart, the new and innovative folding cart that climbs stairs with you. So instead of lifting, you simply roll the Climb Cart upstairs with little effort. So now you'll finally get a break hauling that laundry upstairs. Or add our jumbo-sized carry bag. Now bringing multiple heavy bags of groceries into the house is simple. Whether you're going upstairs or down, the Climb Cart gets you around town. Then the lightweight sturdy frame folds flat and stores anywhere. As part of this special TV offer, you'll get the Climb Cart and free carry bag for the low price of only $39.99. But hold everything. If you order right now, we'll ship it to you free. Plus, all of today's orders come with our 10-year guarantee, but you must call or log on now.
Call 1-800-550-3514 to get your Climb Cart. Call now or go to getclimbcart.com. So call 1-800-550-3514. That's 1-800-550-3514. Call now.
If you or a loved one develop non-Hodgkin lymphoma after being exposed to Roundup regularly for at least 2 years, you may qualify for a cash award. The main chemical in Roundup may be linked to an increased risk of cancer. People working in agriculture or landscaping, city and county workers, even home gardeners, and people who live near areas where Roundup is used may be at risk. If you were regularly exposed to Roundup and develop non-Hodgkin lymphoma, call 800-797-5715. That's 800-797-5715.
And welcome back to the Ray Lucia Show. It's only appropriate that we played Gloria, one of the great songs of the past, the blast from the past. Gloria, wow. What was the band that did that? Them, yeah, thank you. Wasn't there a movie like Them, too? Horror flick or something? Yeah, whatever. What? Oh, giant ants. All right, welcome back. It's interesting. We're talking today about emotions and not letting your emotions cloud your investment decisions. Researchers have actually found some 100 behavioral biases that undercut effective decision making. That's a lot of stuff that's going on in our brains that we don't even think about. And I went through several of them. One that I probably have experienced more than others is something they call anchoring. So anchoring, for example, is something like this. You bought a stock at 50 bucks. You're anchored to that $50 price. It goes down to 45 bucks, and I say to you, well, you know what? The reports aren't looking that good. I don't do this, by the way. I'm making this up. Reports don't look that good, and, maybe you ought to consider dumping that stock. And you say, yeah, you know what? I want to sell it, but I'm not going to sell it until it gets back to 50 because you're anchored to the $50 sales price. I've seen that happen many times before. I'll tell you the other thing that I've seen. A person maybe buys, let's say, a variable annuity. That's an expensive variable annuity because it's got all kinds of bells and whistles, like tax deferral, but it's in an IRA. You don't need tax deferral. Like a guaranteed minimum withdrawal benefit, you decide you don't need the GMWB. And it's got a surrender charge, and maybe it started out at 7%, it's down to about a 5% charge to get out of it. But you're paying an extra 2.5% in fees for the benefits that you don't need. Now, I'm not saying the benefits aren't worth it, because we can have that debate, but you're anchored. Many people get anchored to that and say, okay, well, the charge goes away in 4 more years or 5 more years, so I'll just wait until then, and over a 5-year period of time, you've given up 12% or so of your return on that particular investment, when in theory, you could just dump it, take the 5% hit right now, and you're 7% ahead of the game over the next 5 years. Anyway, it's stuff like that that's anchoring, that drives decisions that, quite frankly, from an investment standpoint, are illogical. So, and this is one of the roles, probably the key role, that a good advisor can actually add to the equation for you. So try to keep your emotions in check. Okay, let's move on, because I teased this. The secret to a happier, healthier life, according to Robert Powell, just retire. And the reason this caught my eye is I have reported on this program many times about how continuing on in work might keep you healthier and happier. So I was fascinated by this article. Here's what Mr. Powell had to say. Retirement, contrary to popular opinion, is not the time in which your satisfaction with life declines and your health deteriorates. In direct and stark contrast to things I have said on this program. So I was very interested in reading this. Instead, it's the exact opposite, says Powell. Retirement is likely to improve your overall happiness and health, according to a working paper from the National Bureau of Economic Research. But is it so obvious that retiring is better than working and that you start to feel happier and healthier as soon as you retire? So what were the study's goals? Let's start with that. They wanted to study the effect of retirement on people's well-being and health, as well as their health care utilization. And what they basically concluded was, they said this: looking at the raw correlation between people's health and retirement status can give a misleading picture. If unhealthy or unhappy people are more likely to retire, it will appear that retirement is bad for health and happiness. We wanted to know the causal effect of retirement on those outcomes. Beyond the importance to individuals as they make retirement decisions, the answers to these questions are also important for policy and countries to decide whether to extend Social Security eligibility ages, since health care costs are often paid by the government. So what were the findings? We find that retirement improves both happiness and health. They found that life satisfaction improved immediately upon retirement, and these effects are long-lasting. While they didn't find immediate effects on measurable health outcomes, they found positive health impacts of 4 or more years beyond retirement. Interesting. This finding is consistent. They go on with the idea that health changes slowly over time so that retirement can have a long-run health benefit. Very fascinating to me. Now, I have reported on the fact that individuals that have a healthier portion of annuitized income that they live off of in retirement and are less reliant upon, say, the volatility of the stock market to produce their retirement income are both happier and theoretically healthier. And there have been numerous studies on that. And when we talk about annuitized income, I conclude, now this is just me, I conclude that annuitized income doesn't necessarily have to come all from the purchase of an annuity. Although Social Security is an annuity, that's annuitized income. And that's got a COLA. So you delay Social Security, you're increasing your happiness and healthiness because you're increasing your inflation-adjusted amount of income. A pension plan is annuitized income. And deferred annuities, whether they be variable with GMWBs or fixed with GMWBs or indexed or life only or joint life with rights of survivorship or certain annuities, I mean, all kinds of different ones. QLACs, they all can fit the bill in retirement planning, and this is where your advisor can help you. But also annuitized income can come from low debt real estate. If you own real estate, it's producing a cash flow. If you turn the property management over to a property manager so that you don't have the stress of having to deal with overflowing toilets in retirement, and all you get is a check every month, and you've got enough money reserved. I've lived this, folks. It's a great lifestyle when somebody else is doing all the heavy lifting for you, and they just send you a check from time to time. Very cool stuff. That is annuitized income. So, the secret to a happier, healthier life, just retire. Make sure that you have annuitized income and a strategy in which to invest what monies you have left over so you don't run out of it before you croak. That's next.
Is your body storing fat more easily? Do you suffer from a lack of energy? Or the draining side effects of restless sleep? How about an increase in wrinkles and even sagging skin?
Hi, I'm Kim Douglas, and as a beauty expert always on the hunt for the next great breakthrough, when I heard about a youth hormone that was associated with reducing body fat, increasing lean muscle mass, and even reducing the appearance of wrinkles, I just had to learn more. I'm talking about human growth hormone, or HGH, and as early as our mid-20s, our natural production of HGH begins to drop dramatically. Here's the good news. Finally, there's Serovital.
Serovital is the first and only amino acid complex shown in a clinical trial to trigger the body's own natural release of HGH from the pituitary gland and increase mean HGH levels by an astonishing 682%.
HGH has been associated with reducing body fat, reducing the appearance of wrinkles, improving sleep, and even boosting energy. As a doctor and a woman, I am very excited that now I can tell women everywhere about Serovital.
Serovital boosts your HGH naturally and at a fraction of the cost of painful injections. Serovital sells for $99 in stores. But call right now because we're letting as many women as possible try Serovital for 30 days absolutely risk-free. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes and we'll also include free shipping. You owe it to yourself to try Serovital for 30 days. It's absolutely risk-free.
Serovital is a true scientific breakthrough, 20 years in the making.
Get the facts at myserovital.com. Supplies are limited. Call 1-800-285-7001 or go to myserovital.com for your risk-free trial today.
Lightning, one of the most powerful forces in nature. Now harness the power of lightning in the palm of your hand. Hi, I'm Hunter Ellis, and that's why I always carry the Tactical Atomic Lighter, the fuel-free, rechargeable lighter that works anywhere, anytime. The secrets are lightning bolt technology that instantly creates fire. From lighting birthday candles to cleaning up the end of a rope, all without gas or butane. Even if it gets wet, it lights. And it never blows out. And it's rechargeable by USB. The Atomic Lighter can be yours for just $19.99. You'll also get a lifetime guarantee. And you can personalize it with custom engraving up to 3 initials to keep or to give as a one-of-a-kind gift. And if you order now, you can double it and get a second Atomic Lighter, plus our best-selling Atomic Beam. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now and we'll ship them to you for free. But you have to order now.
Call 1-800-844-7220 or visit atomiclighter.com. So call 1-800-844-7220 now.
Glasses and contacts. You need them to see, but they put such a strain on your life, you miss precious moments. Due to new advances in vision improvement technology, LASIK is now affordable for almost everyone, with procedures starting as low as $299 per eye and over 1 million procedures performed by our trusted independent surgeons. LASIK surgery is a sensible, safe, and affordable solution to improve your vision. Our simple 3-step process begins with a free evaluation, followed by an extensive preoperative exam to determine if you're a candidate for LASIK eye surgery. Depending on the results of your evaluation and eye exam, you and your surgeon will choose the LASIK option that works best for you. So call now to talk to a LASIK Vision Institute counselor and schedule your free evaluation. That's a $100 value, free. Call the LASIK Vision Institute for your free evaluation and enjoy more of your life.
Call 1-800-218-0586. 1-800-218-0586.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-2379. That's 1-800-916-2379.
Distance information, give me Memphis, Tennessee. Try to find the body, trying to get in touch with me.
And welcome back, folks. It is the Ray program, 844-RAY Show. Emails coming up in just a bit. If you want to email me, now is a good time to do it. RayLucia.com, RayLucia.com. Click on the Ask Ray button. If I get it by the time our next segment rolls around, I'll get right to it on the air live right here and right now. Robert Powell wrote the other day, retirement planning is complicated, confusing, and conflicting. He went on to say, over the years, we had a variety of new laws that went into effect that made saving for and living in retirement more complicated. And he listed some of them out. You wonder why my head is about ready to explode sometimes. Let's start with the Jobs and Growth Tax Reconciliation Act of 2003. Tax Relief, Unemployment Insurance Reauthorization and Job Creation Act of 2010. The Pension Protection Act of 2006. The Budget Control Act of 2011. The Middle Class Tax Relief Act and Job Creation Act of 2012. The Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act and Health Care Act, Education Reconciliation Act of 2010, the American Taxpayer Relief Act. The list goes on and on and on, not to mention the MIRAs and IRAs and all the other stuff that you need to know about. So, as I said before the break, if you want to have a successful and happy and potentially healthier retirement, then you got to go into retirement with a strategy. You have to. What is your strategy? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to choose the right date to retire. Some people say, well, I'm going to retire at 65 because that's when Medicare kicks in, or 66 or 67 because that's when I can max out my Social Security. You know, who cares about whether you can max out your Social Security? It's whether or not you should take it at 62 versus 70. You get 75% more plus a COLA. Where's the strategy behind that? That's one of the things you want to certainly manage. And of course, you want to factor in taxes. If all of your money is sitting in pre-tax accounts, and you're just going to take Social Security and money out of your retirement accounts, one of the things we always talk about is, well, Social Security is potentially taxable, depending on how much money you're going to be pulling out of those retirement accounts. And so doing Roth conversions well in advance of taking the Social Security, maybe we can blend the tax bracket down and blend taxes out of your Social Security. This is where strategy plays a key role. Next, don't invest all your money in the stock market. Remember sequence risk. I don't know how to say this more tactfully, but you'll be eating dog food if you pick the retirement date and just before you take your first check, your 100% stock market portfolio drops by 50%. You'll be eating dog food long before you ever wanted to. Sequence of returns risk it's insidious, it's dangerous, it's terrible, and it's easily avoided with strategy. Next, don't waffle on this annuity decision. Listen, you're either a candidate or you're not. Not everyone is. if you're rich, you've got plenty of money, then you may not need an annuity. Although I did discuss with someone off the air the other day the fact that this particular individual, because they're conservative and wanted to leave a nice legacy for their kids, I said, well, why don't you just take care of all of your basic expenses, all of the expenses that you're worrying about. I think he said he needed $6,500 or $7,000, something like that, in retirement. And I did a future value calculation, and I looked at what he was doing with Social Security. Again, this wasn't a plan that I do. I was just talking to him off the air. But I always carry my calculator with me. And it came out that if he took, I think it was $250,000 or $300,000 out of his $1.2 million portfolio today, that he would have enough annuitized income to where he could take the rest of his money and basically leave it for the kids. And I'm making that up from memory, but it's something like that. Faint-hearted investor, conservative investor, knowing that he's going to have enough money to cover 100% of his needs in retirement plus inflation. I don't know. Don't waffle on that decision. Make sure you get a good advisor, not one like the dudes that come on television and tell you all annuities are bad. Oliver Wendell Holmes once said, I never heard a generalization worth a damn, including this one. Whenever you hear all this or never that, there's always more to that story. Next, be realistic about your rate of return. Even Peter Lynch made a mistake on this one. He wrote that book, what was it, Beating the Street or something like that, many years ago. And he said, well, you know what? You can take a 7% distribution. Wow. We get upset when we talk more than 4% today. Take 7% out because stocks do 10. You can take out 7, leave 3 in the bank for future inflation, and you'll be fine. He corrected himself after he went and did the calculations because A, he didn't calculate the sequence risk, and B, he didn't calculate the fact that you could go through a lost decade. Remember, if you go through the lost decade of the first decade of the 2000s, the stock market earned a minus 3 or 4 or 5%. It didn't make any money at all during that 10-year period. So you've got to be realistic in what your expected returns are. And certainly, as Peter Lynch eventually learned, and this is a smart guy, by the way, I have tremendous respect for Mr. Lynch, but as he learned, you also wouldn't put 100% of your money in the stock market, which violated one of the prior rules. So, and the list goes on and on. Diversify. It's okay to have cash in a portfolio, perhaps to buy you some time so that you can postpone taking Social Security. Because as I've said a million times, that's the best annuity you can buy. And diversify amongst various asset classes. Yes, dividend stocks, but also small cap and value stocks and growth stocks and even international stocks. And then adding real estate and other alternative strategies, private debt, public debt, tons of different ways to do that. And a good advisor can help you with that. And then have, along with that diversified approach, a withdrawal strategy in mind. Are you going to do systematic withdrawals and rebalancing? It's a very popular method. It's not the one I prefer. I prefer segmenting your portfolio and spending from the safer accounts first. I've got a lot of academic research to support that. But even if you don't spend from the safe accounts first, if you used a hybrid strategy, which is if the market's going up and you want to scrape a little bit of money off of the up market for income, you can do that, and that buys you an extra year. I'm fine with that too. But it's still segmenting your portfolio. And finally, and this is a tough one for most of us because we never think it's going to happen to us, But if you don't solve the health care dilemma in retirement, you're making a big, huge mistake. Long-term health care, every finance professor on the planet is telling you to get some, but your brain is telling you don't need it. I'm telling you, odds are you will, and you will get your money back in a couple of different ways, not the least of which is peace of mind. But since today there are so many ways that you can take your emergency fund money and just take it from your left pocket and put it in your right pocket, and it'll provide for long-term health care and emergencies all the same, you can get the job done. And that's how you get to a healthy and happy retirement. Don't shun the advisors in this mix. They will help you. They will earn their freight, not from being a brilliant money manager. Most financial planners are not the money managers themselves. I would caution you if your financial planner is also picking the stocks for you, because I don't think you can do both effectively. But they can far offset, as we've discussed in other academic research, a 1% charge or whatever their charge is, because the average best practices advisor brings in an extra 3 or 4% each year. All right, we'll tackle your emails next, right here on The Ray Lucia Show.
If you're a small business owner, now there's a fast and secure way to qualify for a low-cost SBA loan right online. We're SmartBiz Loans, rated best place to apply online for an SBA loan. We'll help you pre-qualify for up to $350,000 of working capital, or even up to $5 million to buy your building.
We have a 10-year loan. Our repayment is only $1,600 a month.
Now with the SBA loan, we're only paying 6%, and I can afford that.
Apply now at smartbizloans.com. SBA loans made easy.
That used to be me, standing in line to get my money and paying my bills with cash. Now, I save time and money with my NetSpend prepaid MasterCard. It works better for me than a traditional bank account. There's no credit check and no minimum balance required. I load it with my money. Or, with free direct deposit, I can get my paycheck up to 2 days faster. I can even get my government check faster.
I wake up in the morning and my money is in my account. I get paid faster with direct deposit.
With NetSpend, I can pay my bills online and use it anywhere debit MasterCard is accepted. They even send me text alerts after every purchase, or I can check my balance online. The best part? It's easy to keep track of my spending, so I'm in control.
The number is 800-965-4220. Just call 800-965-4220 or go to netspendnow.com.
Introducing the DVR Plus from Channel Master, a truly unique HD DVR that delivers everything you want from subscription-free TV. With dual HD tuner technology and virtually unlimited recording capacity, the DVR Plus lets you enjoy the big game while recording your favorite broadcast show. And the DVR Plus lets you watch the most popular TV networks with the highest quality crystal clear HD picture for free. Just connect an HD antenna and you're ready to go. Connect the DVR Plus to high-speed internet and get even more. Enjoy instant access to shows and movies not available on broadcast television. With the DVR Plus, watching subscription-free TV is easy. You can access your video-on-demand favorites and all your local broadcast channels in one intuitive guide. That's an industry first. Slim and stylish, the DVR Plus delivers everything you love about TV without the subscription. Get your DVR Plus at channelmaster.com or call us toll-free.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure. Oh, so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-486-0914. That's 1-800-486-0914.
When you have credit card debt, the debt suckers, high rate and high pay, never leave you alone.
Debt is really sucking the life out of them.
Yes, they look like death, warmed over.
He's picking up the phone, probably calling his uncle to borrow money.
Thank you for calling Consolidated Credit.
Oh, no, not Consolidated Credit.
With one call, they can lower their credit card rates.
And consolidate their bills into one low payment.
They'll pay off their debt in no time. Put down the phone.
Put down the phone. Order a pizza.
With extra red sauce. That Consolidated Credit makes it too quick and easy to get rid of us.
Thanks to Consolidated Credit, there can be life after death.
Call Consolidated Credit now and get your life back.
Because debt sucks.
Call 1-800-206-0697. 800-206-0697. That's 800-206-0697. Call now.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain or knee pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace or knee brace covered by Medicare at little to absolutely no cost to you. 800-879-9796. Right now to see if you qualify. These professional-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, spinal disorders, stenosis, and other painful back problems. Our medical-grade durable knee braces are designed for those with osteoarthritis and general knee pain and weakness. Our accredited staff will handle all of the Medicare paperwork. And best of all, your brace is shipped directly to your home for free. Will you qualify for a Medicare-covered back brace or knee brace? There's only one way to find out. Call the Back and Knee Brace Center at 800-879-9796. That's 800-879-9796.
That's Curtis on the drums right there. He is a fine drummer and a fine guitar player and a keyboardist and a vocalist. He's just a tremendous musician. And he's responsible for all of our music. And I thank him. Thank you, Curtis. Nice job today, as usual. You give yourself an applause? Is that what you're doing? Okay, that's fair. Welcome back, folks, to the Ray Lucia Show. It's time for emails. Hit it there, Curtis. See if we can get this one right. Hit it. Okay, the first email in from Jordan. Oh, it's a dandy. What will happen to my taxes when I sell a property with a $450,000 capital gain? I am 72 and retired. Well, Jordan, what kind of property is it? Is it a principal residence where you and your wife or spouse have lived there for at least 2 out of the last 5 years? If so, you get a $500,000 exemption, and you only have to deal with, you wouldn't have to deal with any problem as far as capital gains. Now, is it a rental property where it's $450,000 of capital gain, and there's recaptured depreciation, which might add another $100,000 and some odd of the gain? I don't know. If it is truly a $450,000 capital gain, you're in for a lot of fun, because doing your taxes is going to be just a hysterical riot. I'm teasing. It's going to suck, and here's why. First off, you're going to catapult yourself probably into the 39.6% federal income tax rate. And depending on where you live, you could pay another 5 or 10% in state taxes if your state has a tax. Oh, but there's more. On the capital gains rate, you'll be at the highest rate, 20%. But there's still more. On anything over $250,000 if you're married, $200,000 if you're single, you'll pay an additional 3.8%. Add to that the state income tax if your state has a tax. It even gets worse from here, because you're 72. That means you're on Medicare. Now your Medicare premium could go from like $120 a month to $450 a month for both you and your spouse. I mean, you could be paying $800, $900 a month for Medicare instead of $250. It's for 1 year, by the way. It's going to be a very taxing experience. What can you do about it? Well, there are a couple of things. One is you can do an exchange, a 1031 tax deferred exchange, or and then you can borrow money to live on, and then after death there's a step up in tax basis and the capital gain goes away. Or you can sell on an installment sale, a little riskier, but if you know the people or they have a lot of credibility, et cetera, you could keep your gain manageable by, if you sold it over 10 years, you'd only have to realize like 45,000 of the gain each year, which might keep you in a 15% ordinary income bracket, maybe even some of that gain taxed at a 0% rate. So this is the time you call a really good CPA and financial advisor. There are these newer tenant in common type deals where you can do exchanges. I get emails on them all the time. All cash deals, very low risk deals, but please don't take my word for it. TICs have been horrible in the past. I do think they're making a bit of a comeback right now. All right, Sandra is next. I'm thinking of moving to a foreign country to retire. I know it's cheaper to live and quality of life is good, especially in places like Costa Rica and Panama. What do you think? Well, interestingly, I've been next door to Nicaragua, and it was beautiful, and it was inexpensive, and I thought the food was great. But it's still a third world country here, Sandra. It's a third world country. And I know a lot of them brag about their world-class health care, but I don't think you'll find a Mayo Clinic down there anywhere soon. Maybe you talk to somebody that knows. I apologize, I don't. But I would put health care at the very, very, very top of that list. And I know you can buy insurance policies where they'll fly you on a private jet to Houston and the DeBakey Clinic or whatever. But you know what? That may be too late. That may be too late. I don't know. It's just my own personal opinion. If you are living just on Social Security and you want to enjoy a nice lifestyle, I think you can probably get it in South America somewhere. But be prepared for culture shocks, different culture. Some would say much better. I'm not going to dispute that. Here's my advice, because you don't know about geopolitical risk and all. Why don't you try it before you buy it? Why don't you go down there and rent for a while and see how that works? And then if you love it and you've got all the answers to all the questions, go for it. You can always move back home. But please get the health care problem solved. Finally, we have Amy. I've been thinking of selling my loaded mutual funds and just buying an index fund. But then I heard you mention my mutual fund family has been beating the index, so now I don't know what to do. Yes, I mentioned the fund name the other day. I won't mention it again. But this particular mutual fund company, Amy, that you evidently have, is a low-cost mutual fund where there's high ownership. And there have been a few studies done now where if you're buying a low-cost, non-indexed, actively managed fund, and the manager themselves has skin in the game, meaning they've got their own money invested, those funds tend to outperform even the index, despite what you hear, despite what you read. I should also point out that while indexing has proved to be a very, very favorable strategy, at least the last 10, 15 years for sure, when you look at longer periods of time, it's about a 50-50 mix between, the active managers and the and the index funds. So I wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You've got a good fund company. The fees are low. I think they charge 70 basis points. It's about half the average for actively managed funds. And their money managers have got skin in the game. So they're incentivized to make you money because they make themselves money. I'd stay the course with what you got. Indexing is not the answer. to everything. Some people think so. I don't. I'm out of time. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into the Ray Lucia Show. Now tell all your friends about it, and your pets too. Well, make it a great day. God bless. Bye-bye.
You're listening to The Ray Lucia Show, bringing you the best in money information, answering questions about your biggest financial challenges, talking about your money, your business, and your life. Ray Lucia is not a registered representative of or affiliated with any securities brokerage or investment advisory firm. The views and opinions expressed by Ray and his guests are not necessarily those of the station or its sponsors and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investment advice. You should always consult with the appropriate advisors before making any financial decisions. Ray is available to take your questions online at raylucia.com.
Great story.
You are watching Biz TV.
Time for your Biz Talk News headlines. I'm Kendall Baldwin. Beginning today, passengers booked on a handful of U.S.-bound international flights will be required to complete a short verbal security interview before they board. 2 airlines have confirmed that, which starts tomorrow. That's not what that says. At least 2 airlines confirmed that they will begin interviewing passengers on select flights tomorrow, with additional routes and other carriers expected to follow suit shortly. The interviews will be conducted during check-in or at the gate. The new procedures come as part of an initiative announced in June by then Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly, raising the global baseline of aviation security. And the World Series matchup between the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers is now tied at a game apiece. The Astros defeated the Dodgers 7-6 in extra innings of Game 2 last night. Game 3 will be played Friday in Houston. This is Biz Talk News.
The reason I chose eHarmony was honestly because you had to pay to be on there, and I felt like the people who were on there obviously really value a relationship.
For my family, we are 3 for 3 and our siblings for getting married. Thank eHarmony for that. We've all found our best match in life.
Go on eHarmony every day, check your matches, see who's out there, actually invest some time in the process, and it will work.
Stop waiting. Start communicating for free today.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
With markets and more from Biz Talk News, I'm Kendall Baldwin. Shares of Twitter surging 10% in pre-market after the social media group reported narrow losses, but Twitter also admitting to overstating users for years. Ford Motor Company jumping 1.5% after the automaker beat profit and revenue estimates. Buffalo Wild Wings shares soaring 19% after a big profit boost due to a switch to boneless wings for one of its signature promotions. And shares of Pfizer rising 0.9% in pre-market action after a realtor reported that drug maker will begin the auction process for its consumer health care unit in November. O'Reilly's Automotive Incorporation gave up 6% before the market opened. The auto parts retailer late Wednesday provided an earnings outlook that fell below Wall Street expectations. This is Biz Talk News.
Have you been denied credit or hit with high interest rates? A low credit score happens to many of us, and millions of people are victims of incorrect items on their credit reports and don't even know it. That's why you need credit repair now. Our proven process has resulted in past clients seeing on average 11 negative items removed from their credit report and a 40-point increase after the first 4 months in our program. Call now and request your credit report and credit score for free in minutes.
Call 1-800-329-7790.
Travel emergencies happen. What's your plan? The first of its kind for aeroplanes, ADAPTS is a portable device designed to assist wheelchair travelers in the event of an emergency evacuation. A must-have for anyone who travels using a wheelchair and for businesses who serve them. Lightweight, easy to store, and it even doubles up as a comfortable lumbar pillow. Go to adapts.org to reserve yours today. Get packing and see the world with ADAPTS. This is BizTalk Discovery, and I'm Carl Wolfenden. This device is a must for disabled travelers. It will change your experience altogether.
As a flight attendant, I'd noticed an unmet safety need for passengers with disabilities. So I invented what I call basically a soft stretcher. And it's designed to have two rescuers help a disabled passenger off of the airplane. The blankets back in the old days were more substantial, and we used to put them on the seats. And nowadays the blankets are much smaller and more flimsy, and that sort of got me thinking that, gee, maybe something that actually is designed for that purpose would serve that unmet need. The beauty of ADAPS is in its simplicity. Anybody can use it. So the intention is that the passenger would be sitting on it during the flight, and for takeoff and landing it would be attached to the back of the seat. And so the passenger sitting directly behind and the passenger sitting directly across the aisle, if there were a need to evacuate, would jump up and grab the handles. So the person in back would take the handles at the top, and the person across the aisle would take the handles at the knees. And then they would lift them out into the aisle, and in tandem, head to foot, go swiftly down the aisle to the emergency exit, and then everyone goes down together.
Travel emergencies happen. What's your plan? The first of its kind for aeroplanes, ADAPS is a portable device designed to assist wheelchair travelers in the event of an emergency evacuation. A must-have for anyone who travels using a wheelchair and for businesses who serve them. Lightweight, easy to store, and it even doubles up as a comfortable lumbar pillow. Go to adaps.org to reserve yours today. Get packing and see the world with ADAPS.
The biggest entrepreneur destination on the planet. This is Business Rockstars. Welcome to Business Rockstars. Joining me now, Matthew Gallagher, CEO and founder of Watch Gang.
Hello.
Such a fun name. I love it. Thanks
Gallagher
for being here.
or Watch Gang?
Watch Gang.
Oh, okay.
Gallagher is good too, though.
All right, I agree.
Solid last name.
Thanks.
So what is Watch Gang and how did it come about?
Watch Gang is a Watch of the Month club. So it's like a lot of subscription-based companies where we ship a mystery product to customers. We call them members, our members every month. And they're guaranteed to be worth more than what the members are paying for their membership. It came about a year ago. I started this in September of 2016. It's kind of a sad story. My dad passed away last year, left me a watch. It was really the only thing that he had of any value. And, even today, for me, it's the most special thing that I have. And a few months after he passed, I had the inspiration to start a company based around that, which is watches. And so we give away a Rolex every Friday. And my dad, he left me a 1953 Rolex. It was a birth year watch for him. And we started off just giving one away every month. And as we grew, I always maintained that I wanted to kind of keep the giveaway aspect of the company going. And we brought that to once every Friday.
What a touching story.
Thanks.
From a professional standpoint, what is your work history and what led you to want to actually be an entrepreneur?
I think that, so my background's in software engineering, and then I worked in advertising for a few years, and that sort of lends itself to being able to kind of spin up businesses and test things, and I'm kind of a data junkie. But I think that I really just love kind of being in control of my own destiny. I'm sure you probably hear that all the time by entrepreneurs, but in my case, it's very true.
Yeah. So the hardest part, often leaving the 9-to-5, going out venturing on your own. What was that transition like for you, and any lessons learned that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, it was extremely scary. Most of the businesses that I had kind of dabbled in, I'd always done as a side project. I had the reliability of a 9-to-5 job, and if something went awry or I didn't want to work on it anymore, that was okay. I always had my job to fall back on. So when I finally kind of pulled the trigger on leaving the corporate world to do my own thing, I already had a family, I had kids, and the scariest part about that was that maybe I would fail and I wouldn't have a backup anymore. But in hindsight, that's really what I think got me to move forward so quickly and just work so hard at it.
So it ultimately ended up being a motivator
Absolutely.
for you, that fear.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you could go back in time to those beginning months, which weren't too long ago for you as an entrepreneur, what advice would you give yourself?
Trust people, right? So one of the biggest hurdles that I had to overcome was giving people that I put in a position to work for me, giving them the full authority and trust to do what I was doing. Because I did everything myself when I started, because I wanted to know that I was doing what was best and what I really, it was in my vision. And I think that I could have let go a little earlier, because it's only recently that I started really giving people the ability to do kind of the work that's in their full scope, and giving myself a break and kind of having a more balanced life outside of just working every hour of every day.
I think that's one of the hardest parts for entrepreneurs is delegating and trusting and letting go and really empowering their employees to do a good job. But of course, for you, your business is your baby. And so you want to not only have a hand in it, but of course, no one initially can do anything as good as you do. So how did you overcome that of being like, okay, I might be the best person to do it, but at the same time, I really need to trust and let go and empower my employees?
I had to do it. To grow, there wasn't enough time in a day for me to do everything anymore. And I was faced with, either I could keep it at a level where I could manage everything and be miserable and work every hour of my life away, or I could let it grow into what I think it's really capable of, and equip my friends and my coworkers into doing those things.
If you made a startup toolkit, what would be inside of it?
$100,000. I think that...
I think a lot of people would be like, sign me up for that toolkit.
In the tool, I think that overall, I think that question is about what gives you the ability to be an entrepreneur. And I think a big part of that, I would recommend that any entrepreneur learns how to code. I think that's huge. It's not necessary, but eventually in your business, you're going to come to a crossroad where you have to either hire a tech co-founder, or you already have one, or you have to hire web developers or software engineers. And it helps so much if you already know how to do that kind of stuff. So I would recommend that, number one. And then to trust people, to hire people that you really love and that you trust, and to create a culture around your kind of vision of the company.
Is there a particular mentor that comes to mind that's really inspired you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was 17 or 18, I was hired to work in technology at this insurance company. I was doing customer service. And the boss that hired me, his name is John, he's been my mentor for years. And I think overall, it's his ambition and his work ethic that really inspired me. It's not necessarily a single thing that he said, but just sort of that lead by example type of thing.
What did you learn specifically about his ambition and work ethic that you really incorporate into your work life?
He was laser focused on something when he wanted to do it, and he didn't let anything get in the way of that. Even having a job, he carved out enough time for his family and for his ambition projects, his passion projects, to really inspire me to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's hard to have that balance. What does a typical week look like for you? And do you work weekends? Is there that personal professional separation at all?
I used to work all the time. That's all I did. And I was lucky enough to have a wife and kids support me through that. And it's, like I said, just recently that I've been able to step away a little and have a more balanced life. And I think just for my mental health, that's necessary. So I try not to work on the weekends. I try not to work after I get home. I try to just plug my phone in to a charger and walk away from it and spend the rest of the night with my wife and kids.
What hours do you typically work?
Well, I usually get up around 7. I kind of help out in the morning as I wake up, and then I'll check in. I'll work for maybe 30 minutes or so, head into the office around 9, leave around 4 or 5, and I try not to work anymore. I used to just be it's every hour of my waking day was working.
Yeah. So what would you say that you do for fun?
I really like to work with my hands. I like to work with leather. So I do leather working, just like sewing and cutting and dyeing leather. And I box.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then you spend time with your family, of course, as well.
Yeah,
So
that-
nice,
yeah.
well-rounded.
Exactly.
That's a given.
Yes.
Nice, well-rounded week for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we
Okay.
come back, we'll talk about building your business. We are the biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Rockstars. Now, F-Logic.
An entrepreneur is someone who has a dream and a vision and a plan, and they just go for it. I learned so many skills at my previous job at Google, and one of them was just staying super focused on the customer and really taking that to heart when you're thinking about designing products and how you're supporting your customers. I did always see myself as becoming an entrepreneur. My grandfather moved here from Mexico when he was a teenager and was a migrant farm worker, and then opened up his own mechanic shop. And so it definitely runs in my blood, for sure. After I had the idea, the first step that I took was really just getting out of my own way. I think that there's a lot of fear when you have an idea and you don't know really, exactly how you want to start. And I just had to overcome that fear. So it was really like a mental game. There's some really great advice I got from a professor in college, and she said sometimes it's not always about figuring out the path, it's figuring out the next step. And I think that's something that I've gone back to a lot being an entrepreneur, and I find that so helpful. I go back to basics. I spend a lot of time talking with customers, making sure that I really understand, the challenges and the problems that we're having and also what's working well. And I think you really have to continue to do that, whether you have 50 customers or, 50,000 or 50 million. It's so important to always stay very connected and close to them.
You show up. You stay up. You listen. You laugh. You worry. You do whatever it takes to take care of your family. And when it's time to plan for your family's future, we're here for you. We're LegalZoom. And for over 10 years, we've helped families just like yours with wills and living trusts. So when you're ready, start with us. Doing the right thing has never been easier. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
NASDAQ Private Market has a set of tools and solutions that really help private companies manage their equity from startup all the way through to an IPO.
There's a lot of companies who say, I want to be private longer. I want to fully develop my business model. NPM is fundamental to a private company be able to attract and retain the proper talent.
An entrepreneur will say, I finally have a choice and I can determine the timing instead of having external forces determine it for me.
If you're a small business owner, now there's a fast and secure way to qualify for a low-cost SBA loan right online. We're SmartBiz Loans, rated best place to apply online for an SBA loan. We'll help you pre-qualify for up to $350,000 of working capital, or even up to $5 million to buy your building.
We have a 10-year loan. Our repayment is only $1,600 a month.
Now with the SBA loan, we're only paying 6%, and I can afford that.
Apply now at smartbizloans.com. SBA loans made easy.
What if you could magically split your phone in half and have one for personal calls and one for business calls? And what if the business side of your phone came with a receptionist? 2 phone lines, 1 phone, magic. Add an extra phone line to your mobile just for business. Try eVoice free for 60 days. Go to evoice.com and enter promo code MAGIC.
We are the biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. Welcome back to Business Rockstars. I am continuing my conversation with the CEO and founder of WatchGang. Now, you already mentioned the inspiration behind the business, but where did you see the opportunity? At what point did you go, this is the business model I want, and I really think there's going to be a demand for it?
So I'm a big fan of subscription-based companies, and I think that the idea of having loyal members in my business meant if I could retain them it means I'm truly providing a service, and it's something to make them happy. And so when I had the idea for watches, my first step was looking into like the places where I would advertise and see, can I target enough people to even make this a viable business? And that was my step one. And I could. There were millions of people that are interested in watches that also take part in subscription services like a Netflix or anything else. And so that was kind of step one for me. After I built the site, I was getting sales before ever advertising. And that was step two. That was like, oh, this is a real thing. People will buy this. Go get watches. So.
Cool,
yeah.
Cool. So you mentioned that you were one of the first, if not the first, in this space for male watches and the subscription model.
I think there were 2 other Watch of the Month clubs, and what I did and what I really believe in is if there's something that you want to do business-wise, do it and make it better than your competitors, right? Just you can do that all day and you're going to make successful businesses. So I looked at what they were doing wrong, and I fixed it, and I did something better. And I'll just give you an example. So
yeah, please speak to how you really differentiate.
Sure.
Because that's obviously a big challenge
Yeah.
for businesses is to be competitive.
So the other watch clubs were basically just going online and buying watches that were $10 or cheap watches, and they were selling them for a profit. They were just looking at this as a short-term thing. They wanted to make immediate money. And so when people received their watches that they paid $30 for, they would Google them and they see that they could have just bought the watch for 15 or 20 bucks. And doesn't feel good. So it was after that I put a guarantee in place. I guarantee that when you buy a watch or you buy a membership from me, the watch we send you is always worth more than what you're paying. And we do that by aligning ourselves with really awesome watch companies. So we've partnered with Seiko and Citizen and really large companies that they're giving us discounts because of how big our member base is, and they get advertising benefit from it. Their watches are going in the hands of watch lovers. And so we're able to secure that, give them out to our members at a discount, and they're always worth more.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest challenge so far?
Well, it used to be finding enough watches every month. I was discovering that as we were growing, it was increasingly more difficult to find companies that had enough watches ready for us to ship. And so that's why I expanded my operations team. And I have a team of people that just do that for me now. But yeah, that was probably the biggest hurdle.
And what would be the biggest success so far?
You know what? Last month, well, I guess it was this month. So when Hurricane Harvey hit Texas, I was absolutely floored at the response that our members had about that. So we sent out an email and we offered people to just be able to buy like watches from us that were going to support the hurricane victims. And we raised like $50,000 in a few days. And that was just for our members that wanted to support their fellow members in Houston area. And when that happened, it was so like eye-opening for me that, yes, it's a Watch of the Month club. We're not changing the world, but that's real life. And that like they were willing to come together, and that means that they really feel something for their fellow members. And it means that culture...
You're building a community,
yes.
and a community that's very caring.
Yeah.
And you may not be changing the entire world, but you're certainly doing your part to make a positive impact.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I feel like our company culture trickled down into our members, and that's awesome.
That is awesome. So how do you measure success? Is it through customer satisfaction, through hitting your revenue goals, maybe something else?
I think that obviously revenue goals are important because, you know, we have to keep the lights on. But at the end of the day, if my members aren't happy, I don't sleep well. I used to look through every single one, but I look through satisfaction surveys, I look through support tickets and the feedback that we get, and I make changes directly based on even one person's feedback if I think that it's going to help the company.
That can be difficult, though, sometimes. I mean, obviously, it's incredibly helpful because you get that instant feedback,
Yeah.
but it's challenging when you see people talking negatively.
Yeah, and what I had to realize is that that's going to happen in every company.
Yeah.
You could be giving away a Rolex to every member every month, and eventually somebody will not like it. And so I take the feedback, and I'm more mature about it today than I was a year ago. And I understand that not everybody is in a good place to even be giving feedback at that moment, and they might just be having a bad day.
Well said. Very good. Thank you
Thanks.
so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We are the biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Rockstars. After this short break, more Business Rockstars.
Does untangling strings of Christmas lights take forever? Then, when you finally plug them in, oh no, don't short circuit. Introducing the brand new Star Shower Slideshow, the brightest, most beautiful way to decorate your home for the holidays. Instantly, your home will dazzle with dozens of dancing designs. It's so easy. Just pick one of the slides, insert it into the unit, and watch it play. Engineered with Easy Slide technology, it's a virtual explosion of exciting lights and colors. There's 3 different speeds. Choose slow, fast, even freeze the patterns. The choice is yours. It's a Christmas miracle that's simply amazing and works on any home.
With Star Shower Slideshow, all you need to do is plug it in, choose a slide, and it lights up your entire home.
I think our house is now the best in the block because of the Star Shower Slideshow.
The secret is the super efficient motor and extra bright LED lights. The water-resistant casing and extra long stake keep it safe through the deepest snow and heavy rain. There's even an indoor base for the best Christmas celebrations for every generation. Get your Star Shower Slideshow with stake, indoor base, and 6 Christmas slides for only $39.99. But wait, call within 10 minutes and you'll get the celebration package. 6 special holiday slides for free. Enjoy birthday balloons, heart-filled Valentine's Day, fantastic fireworks to light up your backyard barbecue, Easter eggs and rabbits for springtime festival, and 2 Halloween slides for the spookiest house on the block. And because it's weather resistant, you'll keep it in the ground all year long. You get 6 Christmas slides and the 6 slide celebration package. 12 slides plus the extra long stake and indoor base with an incredible lifetime money-back guarantee. Call right now and you can double the offer. Just pay a separate fee. Star Shower Slideshow. It's amazing. Order now.
Call 1-800-822-4803 to get your Star Shower Slideshow. Call or visit by slideshow.com. So call 1-800-822-4803. That's 1-800-822-4803. Order now.
Hi, I'm Joan London. Today's senior living communities have never been better, and nobody understands your options like the advisors at A Place for Mom. A Place for Mom is a free service to help you find a place that fits your parents' budget, needs, and personalities. Call today. A Place for Mom. You know your family, we know senior living. Together, we'll make the right choice.
Call A Place for Mom to get your free ebook on financing senior care. Call 1-800-419-6942.
Welcome back to Business Rockstars. Now let's go to Mark Latt.
Right now, we have a very special guest, Balazs Cardos, joining us. He's the CEO and founder of the Global Prosperity Movement. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, brother.
It's awesome to be here, man.
So, Global Prosperity Movement, I know you personally, so I love what you guys are up to. You're impacting so many lives around the world. But for the audience out there, break it down for us. What do you guys do at Global Prosperity Movement?
We educate and inspire people to break free from the system, be able to work from home, have more freedom. We focus around health, wealth, prosperity, and really giving people the tools when they don't have any experience to get them from where they are today to where they ultimately want to go.
What is the actual thing that they're investing in or learning from?
They're essentially investing in themselves, first and foremost, with education, personal growth, and development. And then we give them the tools and the training to be able to build a business online, leveraging the power of the internet, as well as some really high-level technology for their health and focusing on prevention as opposed to reaction. And what I found is over the last number of years, people are overfed, they're undernourished, they're getting sicker sooner. So there's an epidemic around the health side of things, but also people are focusing on earning money, and then once they acquire success or they acquire a certain amount of money, they lose their health in the process and then spend all their money to get it back.
Like most people are so focused on making the money that they forget about their family or relationships or their health. Not always.
Not always.
But a lot of times we do. We see that people are so focused on getting to that achievement, making that money, building that business, selling the business, retiring, whatever it may be. It's different for everybody. But yeah, unfortunately, we do see that on the path to abundance and riches and success financially, we usually see, unfortunately, some people that do put their health second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth, and sometimes even their family, unfortunately. I want to know, on your journey so far, who's been somebody that had a big impact in your life? Was it, like for me, a Tony Robbins, a John Asseroff? Did you have a mentor growing up that really kind of helped kind of give you that light bulb moment and put you on the path to success?
I've had a few mentors, different stages in my life, but I learned very early that if I wanted to achieve something or have something, I needed to learn from someone who had the things that I wanted. So initially it was books, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, around the sales. Then I got more into the personal development of like the Tony Robbins and that. And then I started meeting mentors as I grew myself and value in myself. I started surrounding myself and connecting and meeting entrepreneurs in person. And then I started having mentors in real life, not just through books and audios and courses from a distance.
Well, what do you think was one of the best lessons either you've learned on your journey or that somebody has taught to you that served you on your journey so far?
I think the biggest one early was to have everything you want in life, help other people have that first, and really focus outside of myself. And that's when I realized that there's always someone that I could serve and help and inspire and get them to where they wanted to go, no matter how tough my life and situation was. And as soon as I did that, things started to come back, tenfold into my own life.
I think it was a Jim Rohn quote, and I love that you brought that up because it's. If you help enough people get what they want, or something, it's like you can have everything you want in the world if you help enough other people get what they want.
Zig Ziglar, yeah.
Zig Ziglar.
One of the first quotes, yeah.
Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar have some of the best OG quotes that are just like timeless. What do you feel like are 3 key traits that every entrepreneur needs to know when they're getting started on their journey?
I think first and foremost, just believing in yourself is huge. Waking up every morning knowing that you don't know how to do it, and that's not important, but why you're doing it, and then having that drive you and failing your way to success. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is leverage, figuring out a way to leverage automation systems, tools and resources, because there's only so many hours in a day. So that was huge. And then service to other people. So figuring out what they need and then helping them get to where they want to go.
So serving others, I think, is something that I want to stop on right there, because I think a lot of people first, when they get into money, get into business, it's about money. And a saying that I go back to over and over again in my business is, and I learned from Jay Abraham, a mentor of mine, don't just make a dollar, make a difference. And you've learned that at a young age. And service, adding value, truly is the way to create $1 million a month business or $1 billion a year business. It doesn't matter. You have to serve the customers. Why do you feel like so many businesses are not achieving the success that they can? Is it because they're not serving people in the greatest way? Is it because they're not innovating? Is it because of bad customer service, bad marketing? What do you think it is?
What I've noticed is people don't ask enough questions, so they're always telling people what they think they need as opposed to just simply asking, what do you want, what do you need, and then serving that.
Interesting. Okay, so you're making it sound simpler than I think it actually is. So surveying, getting feedback, research and development. Is there anything else that you feel like holds businesses back? I find that so many companies I consult for use the 6 most deadly words. We've always done it this way. And so I go into a business, I try to show them new, unique ways that you can leverage Facebook marketing and targeting and pixels and all this stuff, and all the different cool ways that you can target people very, very specifically when maybe they're doing like broad marketing. They're doing like billboard ads or TV or radio, which isn't as niched. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes, is most companies are doing what they've always done. What else do you think?
I think everything rises and falls on leadership and then also sales and persuasion. So even though like certain people in the business are not in sales as their actual title, I believe everything revolves around that. So if your business doesn't adapt to new technologies that are focused on serving and selling the right way, you're going to be left behind and you're not going to innovate and move forward.
100% agree with that. Most people are not the best sales guy in their company. And the problem is, if you're getting your business started, somebody's got to be good at sales.
Yeah.
We'll be right back with Balazs Cardos. He's the CEO and founder of the Global Prosperity Movement. And we're going to find out and peel back the layers on how this guy built an organization with 10,000 people and is doing $1 million a month. This is Business Rockstars. I'm Mark Lack.
What are some keys to starting a new business? I'm Alex Worley with the Business Rockstars Minute. Here are a few of the keys you need for success when running a new business, and they're also important attributes no matter what you're doing in life. Number 1, adaptability. As you roll out your enterprise, you'll discover that things you expected to work well don't work well at all, and you'll stumble into things that you did not expect to work that will. You will have to be adaptable. Number 2, persistence. You lose big customers, good employees may leave your company, and some may even become competitors. To succeed, you'll have to be willing to persist through the difficult times. Nothing can take the place of persistence, and you can't succeed without it. Number 3, work ethic. Running a business is difficult. Your days will be much longer than your normal 8-hour shift. It's simple. Success as an entrepreneur requires hard work. I'm Alex Worley, and this has been your Business Rockstars Minute.
Just like the people who own them, every business is different. But every one of those businesses will need legal help as they age and grow. Whether it be help starting your business, vendor contracts, or employment agreements, LegalZoom's network of attorneys can help you every step of the way, so you can focus on what you do. We'll handle the legal stuff that comes up along the way. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
It is the small businesses that create new jobs and get the economy moving. Entrepreneurs that work every day to create new places for us to explore and new ideas to make our lives easier. Join Biz Talk News as we discover the men and women who make things happen. Biz Talk Discovery airs Monday through Friday at the top of the hour on Biz TV. Find out more by going to biztv.com/discovery.
You're watching Business Rockstars. Thanks for joining us. Now let's go to Mark Lack.
Balazs Cardos is joining us right now. He's the CEO and founder of the Global Prosperity Movement. Recap first what your company does, brother.
We educate and inspire people on how to start a business working from home, getting them from where they are to where they want to go, and really simplifying that process for the newest person with no experiences. So it's awesome, man.
So you provide people the recipe book. They can literally walk in the kitchen, so to speak, have the ingredients, follow the recipe, and get the result. The result that you provide happens to be financial freedom and abundance and a great life. What is that process? What is the blueprint?
I think the big thing that's changing the landscape of business and opportunity today is the power of the internet, power of social media. And what I've come from a background in door-to-door sales and doing things belly-to-belly, face-to-face, is there's so many variables that the average person has to learn. The skill sets, the mindset, the failure, the experiences. There's so many pieces of the puzzle that for someone to come through and catch them up to that level takes a long time. And most people aren't willing to put in the 3, 6, 12, 18 months to get to that place where they're comfortable, right? So what we've done is we've actually broken it down. So instead of learning 10 skill sets to be successful with an online business, we help people just focus on one. And by simplifying it, making it duplicatable, they can come in and 90% of the process is done for you. So the learning curve gets decreased by 90% and they can focus on that 10% and getting better there. And that's why we're having so much success. So we're finding like school teachers and construction workers and servers and bartenders and people who are so far removed. There's such a gap between where they are and where they need to be successful and have the life they want. We can accelerate that without them having to learn those things and be like, this is all in place through softwares and automation, and it's infinitely scalable, so we can serve any country, any language, all over the world, and there's no limitations because the internet does connect us all. So it's really cool. So
anybody of any age, necessarily, any financial background, can pretty much come in and learn this blueprint, this template, this formula. They can follow it. And what is the duration? How long will it take on average? You've got over 10,000 people that have gone through this. How long on average does it take for them to achieve success, see results?
I mean, it really does vary person to person based on their work ethic, how coachable they are, so it's hard to say for sure. We've had some people come in, follow the system, put in as much of their spare time as they can, really get committed to their goals, and quitting their jobs and replacing their full-time income in 30 to 90 days. That's happening quite often. It's really quick. With that being said, it's not a guarantee or a promise that that's going to happen. Some people take 12 to 18 months, but on the flip side, what's the alternative?
Door-to-door sales was something that you did. You sold a lot. You door knocked thousands and thousands of doors. You did it in the snow, and I think most people don't know the lessons that can be learned from door knocking. Most people don't have the calluses from door knocking, especially in the snow. You did this in Canada. You did it for years, and that's kind of how you, so to speak, got your feet in the entrepreneurial space. What are some of the lessons you learned from doing thousands and thousands and thousands of door knocks?
I think that some of the things I learned is that it's not about me. People don't reject you as a person. When I started, I took everything personally. When they said no,
so when they slammed the door in your face,
it was always me, right? I went home at the end of the day like, they don't like me and something's wrong with me, and I was like, no, it's not about that. It's timing sometimes. It doesn't apply to the right people. So I understood that fear of rejection was selfish, so I stopped fearing that. I overcame that. And doing it on a daily basis, I think one of the biggest values is if you have 100 doors, for example, you knock in one day, you have more opportunity and more rejection in a single day than many people put themselves through in a lifetime, and or years, right? Because they're always surrounding themselves with their friends, people that agree with their opinions, so they're never actually going head to head with anybody else. So I was able to do that on a daily basis. So you go from being really weak to either quitting, which most people do, or getting extremely strong and being able to never take it personally and become like invincible in a sense.
You weather the storm.
Weather the storm.
Something that I want to mention real quick is you're sitting in the chair that billionaires have sat in, that Damon John from Shark Tank, one of the world's best top investors, is sitting in. The reason for bringing that up is everyone that sits there has quite a few things in common that makes them successful. One of them is their ability to reframe the meaning that most have about failure, about rejection. And I know, obviously, if you've done thousands of door knocks, at some point, you have to reframe that when that door gets slammed in your face, it's not failure, and rejection is something you shouldn't take personally. How did you reframe? What is your definition when rejection happens, when failure happens? How have you turned that into a positive thing that inspires you and empowers you to do more?
I think the big one was feedback. You know, it's not about rejection, it's feedback. So every time something would come up, I would always learn from that and say, okay, what could I do better? Where do I need to focus? Where do I need to practice? And I just took it as feedback as opposed to being a victim to my circumstances or situations and saying like, oh, it's their fault and their fault. I was like, it's me, how can I improve? And day by day, just 1% at a time, got better over, you know, a few years.
I love that. I want to quote that. There's no rejection, there's only feedback. And I think that's so crucial for people out there because they don't take rejection as feedback, or if they do, they're doing it in a negative way. You look at it as, okay, well, I got that door slammed on my face. How can I learn how to not get it slammed on my face? And you just go from that perspective. But it wasn't always that way for you. Like many people, you like me, we struggle with that in the beginning, and then you push through it. I want to shift gears a little bit.
Sure.
We're in a technology era, so to speak, where technology is coming out and changing on a daily basis now. Is there any technology, gadgets, or apps that you use to help you in personal life, business, or anything like that?
My iPhone is probably my top. Everything revolves around my phone.
What apps? Like for me, I know it sounds funny, but the Notes app, I take notes all the time in there, just random thoughts, I'll put them in there, screenshot stuff I want to remember so it's in my photos. And then my calendar app, as funny as it sounds, like those are so important. Plus, I can use Facebook Ads Manager on my phone, so I can manage all my Facebook ads, or at least look at what the team's doing. What about for you?
I definitely use all of them. I really like those tools for sure. I have an app that does scanning, so not having to print paper is a huge thing in my business. It's really helpful. I have so many apps, to be honest. Like, it's so cool to see. I can't think of any one specific.
What's the first app you check on your phone in the morning?
I actually do a practice where I have my phone on airplane mode in the morning and I do my morning routine. So I actually read first, practice gratitude, and then I turn my airplane mode off. And then I probably go Facebook first. Most of my communication with my business is through there. So I check messages and all that. It's actually taking over the email now. Email's not as...
It really is,
like,
actually,
Facebook Messenger and my ads manager are probably more of my focus today as email.
I agree. Facebook Messenger is where everybody talks. As we wrap up the segment, let's hear what you believe, and I know there's a lot, what you believe is one of the most important ingredients that makes a successful entrepreneur. Short and sweet.
I'd say vision. Seeing where you're going to go, practicing that vision, and then having certainty that you will eventually achieve that.
Wow, the power of a vision. We've heard so many people talk about that as they come in the studio. Brother, you're a business rock star. Thanks for having me. I'm Mark Lack. This is Business Rockstars. We're here to connect a community of entrepreneurs. So you can join us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at businessrockstars.com.
After this short break, more Business Rockstars.
NASDAQ Private Market has a set of tools and solutions that really help private companies manage their equity from startup all the way through to an IPO.
There's a lot of companies who say, I want to be private longer. I want to fully develop my business model. NPM is fundamental to a private company be able to attract and retain the proper talent.
An entrepreneur will say, I finally have a choice and I can determine the timing instead of having external forces determine it for me.
Sometimes business owners and entrepreneurs don't follow a traditional schedule. Well, that's where BizTV's Biz Club can work for you on your time. For only $5.95 a month, you can have over 200 hours of our fresh, original content on demand, anywhere, anytime. And with our search feature, you can quickly and easily find the topic or show you're looking for in seconds. Sign up today and see what you've been missing. Free for 7 days. Join the Biz Club. It's Biz TV on your time.
I'm Alex Worley, and this is Business Rockstars, and I'm joined by Chris Miglino. He is the CEO and co-founder of Social Reality. So happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Good. And I love your story because you have never had a real job, if there's, such a thing anymore. But how we see a 9-to-5, never had it. Take me back to the beginning of your entrepreneurship journey.
So ever since I was a kid, I always had this ambition of creating something, right? Even when I was in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I was always trying to figure out how to create a business. And so I created this lawn mowing business in my neighborhood, started getting a bunch of kids and myself mowing lawns in the neighborhood. So that was kind of the start of of me being an entrepreneur.
So you actually got other kids on board too, so you're managing from the beginning.
Yeah, and then we had this tree painting business where I hired all these kids and we were painting trees in the neighborhood because where I lived you had to paint the trees white so they wouldn't burn in the summertime. And so I hired all these kids to do that. And so it was always from the beginning of time, it was just somehow inside of me to kind of like push and create things. And then so that stayed with me. And then when I was in college, I decided that I didn't really need to finish school or get something from school to be in business. So it started and really the push started in college.
So between your former businesses and your current business, you took some time off and you traveled to India. Tell me about that time and how it influenced your current work.
In the process, I fell in love with the stock market. I really enjoyed the stock market because when we went public, I was, there's nothing like learning about the stock market when you own a bunch of stock. Like you learn more about the stock market in a month than you would taking a year-long class on what happens in the stock market. So I loved it. And I decided that I was just going to trade for a while. So I traded for around 4 years, and I wrote these algorithms to trade the futures markets and the S&P futures and the gold futures and oil futures. But I was sitting in my room like all by myself with all these screens, and it just got a little boring sitting there, right? And I decided, I'm going to start doing a little bit of yoga in the afternoons. And so I'd trade in the morning, go to yoga in the afternoons, and this was back before there was a lot of yoga studios around. There wasn't. It was kind of a hippie thing back then, So
now it's more mainstream.
Now it's more mainstream, but I have a little bit of hippie in me. So I started going every afternoon. I really got into it, and I fell in love with it. And it was the first time coming out of this work where I was working all the time where I had this like connection and feeling a little bit grounded. And so I said, okay, well, where is all this coming from? What's the philosophy around this? And so I started going to India a lot, and I spent a lot of time traveling back and forth to India and meeting some amazing spiritual teachers, like people that are, alive today that are just amazing, philosophers and teachers of life. And I learned a lot from those people. And then I saw that there was this influx, and this is the entrepreneur that you just can't help it, right? So I saw there was this influx of spiritual philosophy that was moving west, and people were really getting into yoga. And there was yoga studios popping up everywhere. So I started a bunch of yoga sites, websites that were yoga oriented, that were where people could go online and learn about yoga. They could go online and watch yoga classes, and we bought a bunch of magazines for their content, and we created this whole media company around lifestyle, healthy lifestyle living and things like that. And then we, then you're sucked back into being an entrepreneur again. So like you had this period where you take a little bit of time off, and it lets you kind of ground yourself again to decide what you want to do. And then as entrepreneurs do, you just naturally transition back into creating something again. You create something, and then ultimately that came to an end. We sold that to another publicly traded company in 2007, right before the world fell apart. And so there was a company called DGM, which was a really big kind of, they make yoga mats.
Yeah,
and
they
stuff
make my
like that.
yoga mat.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm familiar.
So,
We'll be right back with my guest, Chris Miglino. He is the CEO and co-founder of Social Reality. We are here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. I'm Alex Worley, and this is Business Rockstars. Now, Biz Tips.
First tip, biggest tip, how do I go about starting my Instagram account? The best thing to do is list building. What's list building? It's essentially thinking about your competitors, your partners, and who your influencers are. Now, it's a little different if you are, let's say, a service, right? You might not necessarily have influencers, but there are people that you're like, oh my gosh, if this was my client, I would freak out. So that would be like who your influencer would be. Well, let's be a little bit more strategic about that. Take all those cool people that you're coming across, all those cool accounts, and start really researching them. So your competitors, for example, what are they posting about? What hashtags are they using? What's their cadence? Like, how do they talk? Then when you are like looking for your partners, you'll do the same exact thing. And this is really important because Instagram is all about collaborations. It's all about kind of swapping communities, if you will. So the only way that's really going to happen, though, is if you have a very similar aesthetic, a similar tone, a similar way that you're attracting similar communities, so that when you guys swap, it makes sense. Definitely go through that list, competitors, partners, influencers, and just start building. Start building that Rolodex.
You can be told to run, or you can choose to run. Both get you moving, yet one just goes through the motion. The other has purpose, meaning, freedom. What about your health care? Are you being told, going through the motion? Or are you choosing something better? Liberty HealthShare has a purpose. It unites people to share in the burden of healthcare. A true community that cares for you in your time of need. Free from interference and constraints that gives you back the power of freedom. It's time to exercise your purpose. Time to exercise your meaning. It's time to exercise your freedom. Liberty HealthShare.
Have you been denied credit or hit with high interest rates? A low credit score happens to many of us, especially if you've struggled with medical bills, divorce, student loans, job loss, and more. And millions of people are victims of incorrect items on their credit reports and don't even know it. This leads to a lower credit score. That's why you need Credit Repair now. We'll communicate with your creditors and the credit bureaus to address unfairly reported items, late payments, collections, charge-offs, and even bankruptcies. And that can lead to a higher credit score. Our proven process has resulted in past clients seeing on average 11 negative items removed from their credit report and a 40-point increase after the first 4 months in our program. Start working on your credit today. Call now to start repairing your credit score so that you can work toward getting the things you want, like a new car, new home, an education, or new job. Plus, call now and request your credit report and credit score for free in minutes.
Call 1-800-208-5906. That's 1-800-208-5906.
You struggle. You're so far away. Just bending over to put on your socks is brutally painful every day. Well, not anymore. Introducing Sock Slider, the pain-free, no-bend-over way to comfortably put on your socks every day. Just place your sock on the cradle, lower the cradle to the floor, and slide your foot in. It's that easy. Sock Slider puts the socks on for you, so bending over is something you never have to do. The secret is the unique cradle design that expands the sock opening and places it in the perfect position, so all you have to do is slide your foot in. Then when you want to take the item off, the Sock Slider makes that easy too. All your favorite socks can be put on without frustration. Call or visit our website today and we'll give you the special price of the day. You can get the complete Sock Slider system for just $19.99. And so you can give one to your parents, grandparents, or friend in need, you can get a second one free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Call or visit our website at sockslider.com. This offer is not available in stores, so visit our website now to get yours.
Did you know Sell Your Gold offers a fast, easy, and safe way to get cash for your unwanted jewelry? Call Sell Your Gold to request a free appraisal kit. Send in your items and receive your payment. Their trained experts ensure you get the highest price for all your unwanted gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Risk-free with no obligation. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call Sell Your Gold to request your appraisal kit today.
Please call 800-588-2912.
I'm Alex Worley, and this is Business Rockstars. Today's rock star, Chris Miglino, he is the CEO and co-founder of Social Reality. So right away, tell me, what is Social Reality?
So we build software for brand marketers and ad agencies that represent those brand marketers. And then we build software for publishers, so people that have inventory to sell on the internet.
And it's specifically digital?
All digital advertising. So the brand marketers use our tools to measure the effectiveness of their digital advertising campaigns. And they can use our tools to measure how other sellers of media are doing for them in the digital advertising space. So we become kind of like this middle layer of measuring the effectiveness of different campaigns. So they could be running with Facebook, they could be running with Google, they could be running with lots of different providers that are selling them inventory. And in the digital ad space, we call ads inventory a lot. So we can measure how effective those ads are being. Are they driving sales in an organization? Are they driving people to take a specific action? So we build the platforms that allow for that to happen.
And obviously the digital world is relatively new, so you're kind of reinventing the wheel. How do you come up with your, cutting edge ideas in that space?
It's new, but I've been doing it for a long time. So in the scheme of things, it's just an evolution of determining what the needs are. We identify where the opportunity is with the marketers and what they need. A brand marketer needs to understand, if I show you an ad, are you going to go buy that product? Now, it's easy for them to do that on the internet. Like if you see an ad and then you click to Amazon and you buy the product, they could track you right away. What we specialize in is, if I show you an ad, do you actually then go to Target and buy that product?
Yeah, so you're really results driven.
We're driving brand marketing, but it's being measured on what's called an attribution, so attributing that ad back to actually a transaction that's happening offline in the store.
Yeah, and something that's really interesting is that you did not raise any venture capital.
No.
Tell me about that.
So we started making money right away, and it was just two of us. And now we're at 120 people, so it's grown quite a bit. But it was just two of us, and we were just selling the ads. And as we started selling the ads, we started to grow and get more sites and more apps to sell ads for. And we didn't need to raise money because we were making money. And all of our competition...
Very lucky and rare.
Yeah, well, if that's your focus, then you can focus on that. And a lot of our competition was going out to market and raising $20, $50, $70, $100 million from all these big venture funds, and then with an anticipation of going public one day. But, we thought, well, I had lived in those public company environments in the past, and I realized that the only thing that these venture guys want is to get out once you go public, right? So they become the seller of the stock once you go public. So if you could get public without raising the money from the venture capitalists, then you don't have the overhang of the people that are interested in selling the stock once you're there.
Very smart.
So we decided, let's slowly grow, and we did that. We grew from 2 people to 4 people to 6 people, and instead of getting a bunch of money that allowed us to hire very, very quickly, we grew slowly, and then we filed our own S1 to uplist to what's the OTC exchange, which is a smaller exchange before NASDAQ. It's like NASDAQ on training wheels. So you learn about how to be a public entity, how to deal with all of the different things that you need to do to be public.
Yeah.
And so in that process, when you do that, there's a bunch of other investors that will invest in that kind of environment. It opens you up to a whole world of other people that a lot of times entrepreneurs get stuck in this idea that they need to go raise venture capital money, and you don't need to do it.
So you have a really big team. How many employees?
120 now.
Okay, so what would you say is your leadership style?
In general, I let the teams do their things.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have lots of different business units within the company. We have a team that's focused around what's called the buy side, so working with buyers of advertising. We have a team that's focused around the sell side, which is working with publishers and Instagram stars and YouTube stars and people like that. And then we have a team that is on the social side, so building a bunch of technology for social media. And then we have a team that is focused around the pharmaceutical business, which is one of our first verticals that we launched, where it's highly focused on one vertical. So we're really good at creating these niche verticals that brands, can use our tools and say, wow, your tools are very specific to our industry, and we can use that to help market to the people we need to market to.
Thank you so much to my guest, Chris Miglino. He is the CEO and co-founder of Social Reality. We're here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. I'm Alex Worley, and this is Business Rockstars. Thanks for sharing the time with us. I'm Alex Worley, and we'll see you next time on Business Rockstars.
Time for your Biz Talk News headlines. I'm Kendall Baldwin. Beginning today, passengers booked on a handful of U.S.-bound international flights will be required to complete a short verbal security interview before they board. 2 airlines have confirmed that, which starts tomorrow. That's not what that says. At least 2 airlines confirmed that they will begin interviewing passengers on select flights tomorrow, with additional routes and other carriers expected to follow suit shortly. The interviews will be conducted during check-in or at the gate. The new procedures come as part of an initiative announced in June by then Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly, raising the global baseline of aviation security. And the World Series matchup between the Houston Astros and the Los Angeles Dodgers is now tied at a game apiece. The Astros defeated the Dodgers 7-6 in extra innings of Game 2 last night. Game 3 will be played Friday in Houston. This is Biz Talk News.
If you're a small business owner, now there's a fast and secure way to qualify for a low-cost SBA loan right online. We're SmartBiz Loans, rated best place to apply online for an SBA loan. We'll help you pre-qualify for up to $350,000 of working capital, or even up to $5 million to buy your building.
We have a 10-year loan. Our repayment is only $1,600 a month.
Now with the SBA loan, we're only paying 6%, and I can afford that.
Apply now at smartbizloans.com. SBA loans made easy.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetzy. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
With markets and more from Biz Talk News, I'm Kendall Baldwin. Shares of Twitter surging 10% in pre-market after the social media group reported no losses, but Twitter also admitting to overstating users for years. Ford Motor Company jumping 1.5% after the automaker beat profit and revenue estimates. Buffalo Wild Wings shares soaring 19% after a big profit boost due to a switch to boneless wings for one of its signature promotions. And shares of Pfizer rising 0.9% in pre-market action after a Reuters reported that drug maker will begin the auction process for its consumer healthcare unit in November. O'Reilly's Automotive Incorporation gave up 6% before the market opened. The auto parts retailer late Wednesday provided an earnings outlook that fell below Wall Street expectations. This is Biz Talk News.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents